दोषो बुद्धो कमतु तं मम बुद्धं यावनिर्वाणपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। स्वाकाथो भगवता धम्मो सन्दिटिको अकालिको एहिपस्सिको अपनायको पच्छतं वेदितव्यो विन्नो हेति नमो तस्सनियानिक सदम्मसा ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पचुपन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सब्बदा नत्ति मे शरणं गण्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरं ये तेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमं येन वन्देऽहं धम्मं च विदुत्तमं धम्मेयो कलितो दोषो धम्मो कमतु तं मम धम्मं यावनिर्वाणपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसंगो उजुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसंगो न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसंगो सामीचिपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसंगो इदं चत्तारि पुरुषयुगानि अट्टपुरुषपुद्गल एषा भगवतो सावकसंगो आहुनेयो बाहुनेयो दक्षिणेयो अञ्जलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्याति नमो तस्स अट्ट आर्य पुग्गला महासंगसा ये च संगा अतीता च ये च संगा अनागता पचुपन्ना च ये संगा अहं वन्दामि सब्बदा नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं संगो मे शरणं वरं ये तेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् उत्तमं येन वन्देऽहं संगं च विदुत्तमं संगेयो कलितो दोषो संगो कमतु तं मम संगं यावनिर्वाणपर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि। एवं बुद्धं सरन्तानं धम्मं संगं च भिक्खवो भयं वाचं वितत्तं वा लोमहंसो न हस्सति घनसारपदित्तेन दीपेन तमुदंसिना तिलोकदीपं सम्बुद्धं पूजयामि तमोनुदं गन्धसंभारयुक्तेन धूपेन अहं सुगन्धिना पूजये पूजनीयन्तां पूजाभाजनमुत्तमं वर्णगन्धा गुणोपेतं येतं कुसुमसन्ततिं पूजयामि मुनीन्दस्सा श्रीपादा सरोरुहे पूजयामि बुद्धं कुसुमेन ननेना पुण्येन नेत्रेण च होतु मोक्षं पुप्पं मिलायाति यथा इदं मे कायो तथा याति विनाशभावं निरोधस्समापदित्तो उदित्वा निसिन्नसाविया भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा इमिना दीपेन धूपेन पुप्पेन पूजेमि 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 इमं दीपधूपपुष्पपूजादिनामः सकलसम्बुधानां पचैकबुद्धानां अग्गसावकानां महासावकानां अरहन्तानां पकडिशीलम् अहं पितेशम् अनुवर्तको होमि इमानि पुप्पानि वन्देनपि सुवन्नं गन्धेनपि सुगन्धं सन्तानेनापि सुसन्तानं किप्पमेवादुर्बन्धं दुर्गन्धं दुःसन्तानं पापुनिස්සति एवमेवा सभ्ये संकारा अनिच्चा सभ्ये संकार दुःखा सभ्ये धम्मा अनत्ताति हिमाय धम्मानुधम्म पटिपत्तिया बुद्धं पूजेमि हिमाय धम्मानुधम्म पटिपत्तिया धम्मं पूजेमि हिमाय धम्मानुधम्म पटिपत्तिया संघं पूजेमि वन्दामि चेति यं सब्बं सब्बताने सुपतिष्ठिता शारीरिकधातु महाबोधि बुद्धरूपं सकलं सदा नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा विपत्ति पटिवाहाय सब्ब संपत्ति सिद्धिया सब्ब दुःखं विनाशाय सब्ब भयं विनाशाय सब्ब रोगं विनाशाय भवेदीगायुकदायक सब्ब लोकं हितत्ताय परितं तं बनामहे समन्ता चक्रवालेषु अत्रागच्छन्तु देवता सद्धम्मं मुनिराजस्सा सुनन्तु सग्गमोक्कदम् धम्मश्रवण कालो अयं बदन्ता धम्मश्रवण कालो अयं बदन्ता परित्तश्रवण कालो अयं बदन्ता नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा वन्दे धनङ्करं बुद्धं वन्दे मेदङ्करं मुनिं शरणङ्करं मुनिं वन्दे दीपङ्करं जिनान्नमे वन्दे कोण्डान्यसत्तारं वन्दे मङ्गलनायकं वन्दे सुमानसंबुद्धं वन्दे रेवतनायकं वन्दे शोभितसंबुद्धं हनुमदस्सिंह मुनिन्नमे वंदे पदुम संबुद्धं वंदे नारद नायकं पदुमुत्तरं मुनिं वंदे वंदे सुमेध नायकं वंदे सुजात संबुद्धं प्रियदर्शिं मुनिं नमे अत्तदर्शिं मुनिं वंदे धम्मदर्शिं जिनानमे वंदे सिद्धार्थ सत्तारं वंदे तिस्सा महामुनि वंदे पुस्सा महावीरं वंदे विपस्सिनायकं सिकिं महामुनिं वंदे वंदे वत्सभुनायकं ककुसंदं मुनिं वंदे वंदे कोणगमनायकं कස්සपं सुगतं वंदे वंदे गौतमनायकं अट्टविंशति इमे बुद्धा निब्बानमतदायका नमामि शिरसा नित्यं ते मं रक्षन्तु सर्वदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सर्वदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रत्नत्रयम् नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स एवं मे सुतं येकं समयं भगवा सावत्यं विहरति जेतवने अनाथपिण्डिकस्य आरामे अतको अन्यतरा देवता अभिकन्ताय रत्या अभिकन्तवन्ना केवलकप्पं जेतवनं गोपासेत्वा येन भगवा तेनुपसङ्कमी उपसङ्कमित्वा भगवन्तं अभिवादित्वा एकमन्तं अट्टासि एकमन्तं किटाकोसा देवता भगवन्तं गाथाया जबासि बहुदेवा मनुस्सा च मंगलानि अचिन्तयो आकङ्कमानसत्तानां गृही मङ्गलमुत्तमम् असेवना च बालानां पण्डितानां च सेवना पूजा च पूजनीयानां एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमं पठिरूपदेशवासो च पुब्बे च कटपुण्यता अर्थसम्मापणीति च एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् बहु सत्यं च सिप्पं च विनयो च सुशिक्षितो सुभाषिता च या वाचा एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् माता पितु पट्टानं पुत्रदारस्य संग्रहो अनाकुला च कम्मन्ता एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् दानं च धम्मचर्या च नाटकानं च संग्रहो अनवज्जानि कम्मानि एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् आरतिवीरति पापा मज्जपाना च संयमो अपमादो च दम्मेषु एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् गारवो च निवातो च सन्तुटी च कटन्युता कालेन धम्मश्रवणं एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् कन्ति च सोवच सता समनानं च दर्शनं कालेन धम्मसाकच्चा एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् तपो च ब्रह्मचर्या च आर्यसच्चानदर्शनं निर्वाणसच्चिक्रिया च एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् उत्तस्य लोकदम्मे हि चित्तं यस्सा न कम्पति अशोकं विरजं केमं एतं मङ्गलमुत्तमम् यथा दिशानि कत्वाना सब्बतङ्गपराजिता सब्बत्तसुत्तिं गच्छन्ति तं ते सन्मङ्गलमुत्तमन्ति एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सर्वदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रत्नत्रयम् नमो तस्य भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स ज्ञानीदभूतानि समागतानि बुम्मानि वायानि वान्तलिक्ये सब्बेव भूता सुमना भवन्तु अतोऽपि सत्कच्च सुनन्तु भासितं तस्मा हि भूतानि समेत सब्बे मेत्तं करोत मानुषीयापजाय दिवाचरत्तो च हरन्ति ये बलिं तस्मा हि ने रक्षतापमत्ता यंकिंचि वित्तं गृदवाहुरं वा सज्ञेषु वा यं रत्नं पणितं ननो समं अक्ति तथागतेन इदम्पि बुद्धे रत्नं पणितं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्योतो कयं विरागं गमतं पणितं यदज्जगा सख्यमुनि समाहितो न तेन दम्मेन समत्ति किञ्चे इदम्पि दम्मे रत्नं पणितं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति यं बुद्धसेट्टो परिवर्णयि शुचिं समाधिमानन्तरिकन्यमाहो समाधिना तेन समो न विद्यते इदम्पिदं मे रत्नं पणितं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु हे पुग्गला अट्टशतं प्रसत्ता चत्तारि एतानि युगानि होन्ति ते दक्षिणय्या सुगतस्य सावकाये तेषु दिन्नानि महत्फलानि इदम्पि संज्ञे रत्नं पणितं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु ये सुप्पयुक्ता मनसादलेन निक्कामिनो गौतमशासनं हि ते पत्तिपत्ता अमतं विगाया लद्दा मुदा निभृतिं भुञ्जमान इदम्पि संगे रत्नं पणितं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु यतीन्द्रकीलो प्रविंसितोऽसि या चतुर्विवाते असम्पकम्पि योदतूपमं सत्पुरुषं वदामि योर्य सच्चानि अवच्च पश्यति इदंपि संगे रत्नं पणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु ये अर्यसच्छानि विभावयन्ति गम्भीरपन्नेन सुदेशितानि किञ्चापि ते हन्ति भूसप्पमत्ता न ते भवन् अट्टमङ्गादियन्ति इदंपि संगे रत्नं पणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु सहावत्सदस्सन संपदायातयस्तु धम्मा जहिता भवन्ति सक्काय दिट्टि विचिकिच्चितं चासि लब्धतं वापि यदत्ति किञ्चित् चतुःपाये हि च विप्पमुत्तो चचावितानामि अबब्बकातुम् इदंपि संघे रत्नं प्रणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु किञ्चापि शोकम् अकरोति पापकं कायेन वाचा उदचेतसा वा अबब्बसोतस्य पटिच्चदाया अबब्बतादिट्टपदस्य बुद्धा इदंपि संगे रत्नं प्रणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु वनप्पगुम्बे तपुसितज्ञे गिम्हारमासे परमस्मि गिम्हे ततोपमं धम्मवरं अदेशयि निब्बाणगामिं परमं हिताय इदंपि बुद्धे रत्नं प्रणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु वरो वरण्यो वरदो वराहरो अनुत्तरो धम्मवरं अदेशयि इदंपि बुद्धे रत्नं प्रणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु कीणं पुराणं नौमृत्ति संभवं विरक्त चित्तायति के भवस्मिन् ते कीण बीजा अविरुल्लिच्छन्दा निब्बन्ति धीरायतयं पदीपो इदंपि संगे रत्नं प्रणीतं एतेन सच्चेन सुवत्ति होतु यानीदभूतानि समागतानि बुम्मानि वायानि व अन्तलिक्ये तथागतं देवमनुस्वपूजितं बुद्धं नमस्साम सुवत्ति होतु यानीदभूतानि समागतानि बुम्मानि वायानि व अन्तरिक्ये तथागतं देवमनुस्वपूजितं धम्मं नमस्साम सुवत्ति होतु यानीदभूतानि समागतानि बुम्मानि वायानि व अन्तरिक्ये तथागतं देवमनुस्वपूजितं संඝं नमस्साम सुवत्ति होतु एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सपदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रत्नत्रयम् नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा करणीयमत्तकुशलेनायन्तं सन्तं पदम् अभिसमेच्छा सक्को ऊजूचा सुजूचा सुवचोचः समुदु अनतिमानि सन्तुस्सकोचा सुबरोचा अपकिच्चो च सल्लौकवुत्ति सन्तीन्द्रियोचा निपकोच अपगब्बो कुलेषु अननुगिद्धो न च कुद्धं समाचरे किञ्चियेन विन्यो परे उपवदेयु सुखिनो वाके मिनो हन्तु सब्बे सत्ता भवन्तु सुखितट्टा न परोपरं निकुब्बेता न्यातिमन्नेत कट्टचिनं कञ्चि ब्यारोसनापटिक संज्ञानन्यमन्यस्य दुःखमिचय्य मातायतानि यङ्पुत्तं आयुषा एकपुत्तमनुरक्ये एवंपि सब्बभूतेषु मानसं भावये अपरिमाणं मेत्तं च सब्बलोकस्मिन् मानसं भावये अपरिमाणम् उद्दङ्गलोच तिर्यञ्च असम्बादं अवेरं असपट्टं तिट्टं चरं निसिन्नो वासयानो वायावतस्स विगतमिद्धो एतं सतिं अदित्येया ब्रह्ममेतं विहराङ्गिदमाहो दिट्टिञ्चानुपगम्यशीलवादस्सनेन सम्पन्नो कामेषु विनयागेदं न हि जातो गब्बसेयं पुनरेतीति दुःखापता च निर्दुःखा भयापता च निर्भया शोकापता च निःशोका हन्तु सब्बे पिपाणिनो एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सब्बदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् एतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रत्नत्रयम् नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा उदेतयं चक्कुम एकराजा हरिस्सवन्नं पटविप्पवासं तं तं नमस्सामि हरिस्सवन्नं पटविप्पवासं तयज्जगुत्ता विहरे मुदीवसं ये ब्राह्मणा वेदगु सब्बदं मे ते मे नमो ते च मं पालयन्तु नमत्तु बुद्धानां नमत्तु बोधिया नमो विमुक्तानां नमो विमुक्तिया एवं सोपरितं कत्वा मोरो चरति ये सना अपेथयं चक्कुमयेकराजा हरिस्सवन्नं पटविप्पवासं तं तं नमस्सामि हरिस्सवन्नं पटविप्पवासं तयज्जगुत्ता विहरे मुरत्तिं ये ब्राह्मणा वेदगु सब्बदं मे ते मे नमो ते च मं पालयन्तु नमत्तु बुद्धानां नमत्तु बोधिया नमो विमुक्तानां नमो विमुक्तिया एवं सोपरितं कृत्वा मोरो वासमकप्पयीति एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोतिनो होतु सब्बदा एतेन सच्चवज्जेन होतु नो जयमङ्गलम् येतेन सच्चवज्जेन पातु नो रत्नत्रयम् नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स सब्बित्यो विभज्यन्तु सब्बरोगो विनश्यतु माते भवत्वन्तरायो सुखी दीर्घायुको भवतु सब्बमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सब्बदेवता सब्बबुद्धानुभावेन सब्बधम्मानुभावेन सब्बसङ्गानुभावेन सदा सुखी भवन्तु ते नाकत्तयक्कभूतेन पापग्रह निवारण परित्तस्सानुभावेन हन्तु नो पद्दवे देवो वसातु भावेन सस्य सम्पत्ति हेतु च पीतो भवतु लोको च आकाशता च बुम्मट्टा देवनागा महिद्दिका पुण्यन्तं अनुमोदित्वा चिरं रक्कन्तु शासनं चिरं रक्कन्तु देशनं चिरं रक्कन्तु मम परं एतावता च अम्मेहि सम्पतं पुण्यसम्पदं सब्बे देवा अनुमोदन्तु सब्बे भूता अनुमोदन्तु सब्बे सत्ता अनुमोदन्तु सब्ब सम्पत्ति सिद्धिया निब्बाण सम्पत्ति सिद्धिया इदन्नो न्यातिनं होतु सुखिता होन्तु न्यातयो इदन्नो न्यातिनं होतु सुखिता होन्तु न्यातयो इदन्नो न्यातिनं होतु सुखिता होन्तु न्यातयो सब्बे बुद्धा बलप्पाता पच्चेकानं च यं बलङ्गरहन्तानं च तेजेनार्कं बन्दामि सब्बसो सब्बे धम्मा बलप्पाता अर्यसज्जनं च यं बलं धम्मचक्रस्य तेजेनार्कं बन्दामि सब्बसो सब्बे संगा बलप्पाता विमुक्तानं च यं बलं शासनस्य तेजेनार्कं बन्दामि सब्बसो मिमिना पुण्याकं मे नामा मे बालसमागमो सतं समागमो होतु यावनिब्बानपत्या इदन्मे पुण्याकमं आसवकयं वहं होतु सब्बदुःखापमुच्यतु निब्बान संपच्चयो होतु सुखी होन्तु मंगल हो. Okay, now you take this 5%. The happiness of righteousness. It is dependent on how mindfully you protect your shilas, how mindfully you take care of your shilas, your panchashilas. So in that way, panchashila is very beautiful training program, training steps they are. If you understand the beauty of this panchashila, then you got the complete path actually. Shila, Samadhi, Panya. That is the three-step training. If you don't understand Shila, don't establish in Shila, then definitely you can't establish in Samadhi, in concentration, in mind stillness, in mind calmness, in mind focusedness. When you lose this mind focusedness or this mind stillness, then there is no way to develop wisdom. That is Panya, third step. So this Shila, Samadhi, and Panya, they are interdependent, or they are consecutively they are dependent. When you are established in Shila, then you can establish in Samadhi. When you establish in Samadhi, then you can establish in Panya, wisdom. So that's why Shila is a foundation. And understanding the intricacies of Shila, the ways and means to establish in Shila, that's what is actually the today's Dhamma talk. Also, I'm just thinking of discussing about this Musavada Veramani, like say this false speech or wrong speech. What are the different dimensions of wrong speech and how to rectify it and how to correct it, so that one can establish in the right speech, that we will see. Because people generally think lying, of course, it is a part of life. In this age, we can't survive without lying. That way we think, but still there are different dimensions for this false speech, for this musavada. It's not just lying. What are the other aspects of this false speech, and how step by step one can practice and establish in this right speech, that we will see in today's Dhamma talk. So one should not consider this lying as very simple thing. It is actually it is the greatest of all the virtues, that we will see in the Dhamma talk. So that is about this Panchashila Grahana, taking 5 precepts. And now we'll practice meditation for some time. and then you can do this Punyanamodana. So now close your eyes, aankhein band karo, sit comfortably. Be relaxed, keep a smile on your face. आराम से बैठो, मुस्कुरा के बैठो. Wish yourself, let me be like this, happy, healthy and peaceful. अपने आप को मत्था दो, हम इस प्रकार सुख शांति आरोग्य से रहे, उनको अच्छा हो, भला हो, मंगल हो. All my family members, near and dear ones, all these upasakas, upasikas, my teacher, all other known people, and also all other unknown people also. All humans, whatever may be their background, their culture, their temperaments, all humans and all other beings like animals and other invisible beings, wherever they are, may all of them also be happy and well, healthy and peaceful. मेरे परिवार के सभी लोग, प्यारे लोग, यहाँ का सभी उपासक उपासिकाएं, हमारा गुरु जी, सभी जान पहचान लोग, रिश्तेदार, दोस्त लोग और दूसरा सभी जान पहचान लोग और दूसरा अनजान लोग भी, जहां भी हो, सारे मनुष्य लोग, छोटा हो बड़ा हो, अलग अलग धर्म, अलग अलग भाषा, संस्कृति, सभी लोग, सारे मनुष्य लोग और सारे प्राणी, सारे जीवी, अदृश्य जीवी हो भी हो, जहां भी हो, सबका अच्छा हो, सबका भला हो, सबका मंगल हो, सबका स्वस्ति मुक्ति हो, सबका कल्याण हो, सभी अच्छा से रहे, सभी शांति से आरोग्य से रहे, सबका कल्याण हो, सबका मंगल हो. सभी जीवी, सभी प्राणी, सभी मनुष्य सभी प्रकार का चिंता और दुखों से मुक्त रहे। सभी पुण्य कमा के सुख शांति से रहे, पाप से दूर रहे, दुख से दूर रहे। सबका अच्छा हो, सबका भला हो, सबका मंगल हो। May all beings be free from all kinds of suffering, physical suffering and mental suffering. May all beings progress in merit making and derive true happiness, health, and peace of mind. All beings avoid demerits, evil actions, and thereby avoid suffering. May all beings be happy and well, healthy and peaceful. May all beings rejoice in the happiness of others, share and partake the merits of others, and also share their merits to others. Without holding, without stinginess, without jealousy, without possessiveness. May all beings cultivate mudita, appreciativeness, rejoicefulness. May all beings be happy and well, healthy and peaceful. सभी जीवी, सभी प्राणी, सारे मनुष्य मुदिता से रहे, एक दूसरे का प्रशंसा मनोभाव से रहे, दूसरों का पुण्य का बाग स्वीकार करने का मन से, बाग बांटने का मन से मुदिता से रहे, बिना ईर्ष्या, बिना मच्छरिया, मुदिता से रहे, प्रशंसा मन के मन से रहे, तारीफ का मन से रहे। सबका अच्छा हो, सबका भला हो, सबका मंगल हो, सबका कल्याण हो। Now your mind is full of Brahma Viharas, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upeka. भी तुम्हारा मन पूरा ब्रह्म विहारों से भरा है, मैत्री, करुणा, मुक्ता, उपेक्षा से। So with this Brahma Viharas in your mind, forgive all your enemies and people who troubled you, and seek forgiveness from all those whom you have troubled. You might have troubled. Seek forgiveness. May all of them also be happy and well, healthy and peaceful. अभी ये ब्रह्म विहार का मन से सभी दुश्मन लोग या जिससे अच्छा संबंध नहीं है, उन लोगों का जो भी गलती है उसको माफ कर लो, क्षमा कर दो। तुम्हारा वजह से उसको कुछ तकलीफ हुआ, उनसे माफी मांगो। वो लोग भी अच्छा से रहे, सुख शांति आरोग्य से रहे, उनका अच्छा हो, भला हो, मंगल हो, उनका स्वस्थ मुक्ति हो, उन लोगों का कल्याण हो। ऐसा पूरा मन से उनको क्षमा कर दो। with this mind full of loving kindness and forgiveness, and all other Brahma Viharas. Observe the breaths, develop mindfulness and breaths for a couple of minutes. अभी मन पूरा ये ब्रह्म विहार और क्षमा गुण से भरा है। ये शुद्ध मन से अभी मन का सती स्पृहता बढ़ाओ, सहज स्वाभाविक सांस पता करके मन का स्पृहता, मन का होश, जागृति, सती बढ़ाओ। पूरा मन सांस का ऊपर, सहज स्वाभाविक सांस पता करके बैठो। Upon observing the normal natural breaths with calm, composed, alert, attentive mind, with equanimous mind, शांत मन से, सजगता से, समता मन से हर एक सांस, पूरा सांस पता करके बैठो। Each and every breath and the whole breath, keep on observing. Under 2 minutes, be aware of the breaths. और 2 मिनट पूरा मन सांस का ऊपर. भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा स्वस्ति भवन्तु ते. सुखी भवेयन्नि दुःखो अहं निच्चा अहं विया पिता च मे सुखी हन्तु मज्जता चतवेरिनो वामि गम्मन्ते धम्मे सत्ता हन्तु सुखी सदा ततो परञ्च रज्जेषु चक्रवालेषु जन्तुनो सुखी हन्तु मंगल. Okay, now Punyanuvadana, Dhamma Savana and Dhamma Desana. There is one more mentor section. So today, as I was telling you, we will see the different dimensions of this Musavada, the fourth precept. Many masters, they say Musavada or this Musavada Veramani. That means like restraining from this speaking lies, speaking untruth. So this is actually the core precept. If you are addicted to lying, then you are bound to do any evil. So nobody can stop you, or your mind will not stop you if you are used to this lying. Lying is such a important, like say, evil, which will lead to all other evils. All these parmis also. So they are the Satcha parmi, the truthfulness parmi. It is like the engine. That's what they say, and all other remaining parmis like this Dana parmi, Shila parmi, Aditana parmi, Metta parmi, Upeka parmi. They all follow this Satcha parmi. If you stick on to truthfulness, then you are bound to become loving. You are bound to become, like say, generous. You will definitely become uh, moral, virtuous. That is the power of truthfulness. So, what is truthfulness? What exactly is the definition of truthfulness? So that there is one sutta, Musavada Sutta. So there Buddha discusses about this truthfulness. So when you know that this is not true, but still you decide to say, twist some truth, some reality. So your intention itself is bad. That is one thing, first factor in Musavada. The second thing is uh, you just enact it, you just involve in that untruthfulness. You speak out the right as wrong, the wrong as right, the untrue as true, true as the untrue. So you just verbally express it. That is the second thing. Then afterwards, you will not confess it. So immediately after that, you will not confess it. If you speak out lie, and immediately if you confess, then the power of that lying, it will reduce drastically. But if you don't confess it immediately, then that Musavada will be a complete, like say, unvirtuous act. First, the intention is also very clear that, so you want to make for some trivial benefits, for some small petty benefits out of your ignorance. There will be no benefit actually. Temporarily, there may be some benefit, but in long term, it will lead to so many problems lying. But for some small trivial benefits, you make the wrong as right, right as wrong, untruth as truth, truth as untruth. That is what is Musavada. That is point number one. Second thing is, we enact it. You speak out the wrong as right, that you have not seen as that you have seen, that you have seen as that you have not seen, that you do as you can't do. That also is actually untruthfulness. So there are different layers of untruthfulness. So in that way, so though you know very clearly that this is not wrong, but you are trying to make it as right. Though it is right, you are trying to make it as wrong. You are very clear. That is the intention. That is not good. That is not right. And the second thing is you just express it. You speak it out in a wrong way. You lie it verbally, orally. That is the second one. And the third one is you don't repent it. You don't confess it. Then that is the completion of your Musavada. You have completely, you are into that evil of lying, not speaking truth. That is complete. These three things follow, one after the other. So that is about this Musavada, lying. And as I told you, so a person who is addicted to lying, he will not have any shame to perform other evil actions. So the shamelessness is the cause for this lying. You heard of this Hiri and Vattappa. A person who is shameless, who is not bothered about the consequences of lying, for temporary, some trivial benefits. If a person lies, not knowing or not bothered about the future consequences, that is what is called shamelessness. Ahirika. So hiri means that moral shame. Ahirika means that shamelessness. A person who is who lacks this shame, or we can call him as a shameless person, that moral shamelessness, and who is not bothered about the future consequences. That is the moral fearlessness. Fearlessness. If he is fearless about the moral consequences, and if he is shameless of the moral consequences, such a person is actually, he only can speak the lies. He only become the untruthful person. And this fearlessness, this moral shame and moral fear will make a person truthful. And the truthfulness leads to other precepts actually. Because by killing, you have to become untruthful. I have to hide something. I have to cover something. So that kind of hiding and covering and untruthfulness, they are always very much embedded in all the remaining precepts, either in killing or sexual misconduct or stealing or taking intoxicants. That hiding and covering is very much embedded. So because of that reason, truthfulness is the key. So, and if a person wants to be truthful, then he should understand this moral shame and moral fear. Moral shame and moral fear is about some wisdom, some idea about the future consequences. If you're aware of the future consequences of your actions, temporarily you may benefit, but in the future it may lead to more problems. If that understanding, if you lack, then that ignorance will make you morally shameless and morally fearless. And that moral shamelessness, moral fearlessness will make you an untruthful person. An untruthful person will definitely become, like say, non-virtuous or unvirtuous person. He can kill, or he can indulge in sexual misconduct, he can take intoxicants, he can steal. All these things, it becomes nothing for him if a person becomes untruthful. And the reason behind untruthfulness is not having the wisdom of this future consequences. That means how this karma works, the future consequences, if you are unaware, then you definitely become shameless and fearless, and that shamelessness and fearlessness will definitely make you untruthful. So that is what is the point here, to understand this this truthfulness, or this Musavada Veramani. And there is one more sutta, Rahulo Vada Sutta. So there Buddha instructs his son Rahula about the benefits of truthfulness or the dangers in lying. Even a small lie, if you are unmindful, boasting is also one kind of lying. So, because future you don't know, but still you boast something that you do in the future. So that now that's also a kind of lying. So in that way, there are different layers in lying. The first layer is this: whatever you have seen, you are saying it as not seen, or whatever you have not seen, you are saying, you are expressing it as seen. Whatever you don't know, you are saying it as you know. Whatever you know, you are saying it as you don't know. So this is actually the first layer in this truthfulness. At least this much of truthfulness, if a person lacks, then the future layers, the future levels of truthfulness, one can't understand. So because of that reason, truthfulness is the key for all other, say, virtues, to avoid all other evils. Truthfulness is the key. And if you practice this Musavada much more, let's say, seriously, like the people who take 8 precepts. So in addition to this non-lying, that the very definition of Musavada implies, there are 3 more aspects in this Musavada. That is, like say, divisive talk or backbiting, talking behind the person, talking behind the people, talking about some people or one person behind them, with an intention of creating some kind of conflict or some kind of divisiveness, some kind of misunderstanding, some kind of enmity, to build some kind of enmity between two people. With that intention, if you talk behind a person, then it is called backbiting or divisive speech. That is also a kind of musavada, untruthfulness. Because anything, as I told you, hiding also is untruthfulness. So when you take 8 precepts, the Musavada becomes much more broader. Musavada Veramani, or the truthfulness, becomes much more broader. This divisive speech also comes under this Musavada. When you take 8 precepts, it's not just lying. In addition to lying, even you should avoid the divisive speech or the backbiting when you have taken 8 precepts. When it is only 5 precepts, in that 5 precepts, the lying, the first layer of lying, or false speech or this untruthfulness. It comes when you take 8 precepts, the Musavada becomes much more wider. It encompasses a few more aspects like your divisive speech also. Of course, all of you know the dangers of divisive speech. Such a person, he will not be trusted. Person in front of one person, he will talk about some other person, and in front of the other person, he talks about this person. That is absolutely very like a crook or a frauds, crooks. They talk something like this divisive speech. That leads to criminal mentality also. Even the crimes also will happen through this divisive speech. So in that way, this lying and divisive speech also one should be careful. That is one next layer of understanding this truthfulness. And sometimes some people used to ask me and they wonder the next step in this truthfulness or this Musavada Veramani. That also one should practice when you take 8 precepts. That is harsh speech or coarse speech. This ridiculing, speaking harshly, speaking coarsely, scolding harshly, all these things also will come under this Musavada. Sometimes I too used to think how this coarse speech and harsh speech, it is like Musavada. Then when we start pondering this, then I realized the beauty of this also. Like there is no control in your mind, then you speak harshly out of ego or out of like say some kind of superiority. Most of the times our harsh speech, some people they try to defend, so you have to speak harshly with your children when they are doing some wrong, or when you are say subordinates when they are doing some mistakes. There is no wrong in speaking harshly. But most of the harsh speech, it's not just confined to this kind of, like, say, compassionate speech. Though there is compassion inside, like just like you have to shout at your children, your child, when it is doing some mistake, out of compassion, out of concern only. But most of the harsh speech will not confine to this kind of compassion-based harsh speech. And even that, if you go a little deep, even that kind of harsh speech, when it becomes uncontrolled, then you are disturbing your own mind. Even the harsh speech should have a lot of equanimity. With that equanimity, if you talk a little harshly, then it will not, like say, seem to be harsh. It will not affect your mind or the others' minds. Only the content behind that, only the intention behind that will be grasped by the person, by the people. If your mind is disturbed, then others' minds also will be disturbed. When you lose balance, other people also will lose balance. You have to maintain that equanimity, and with that equanimity, if you speak, though it may look a little bit harsh, but because of that equanimity, it sounds more logical, more pragmatic, more useful, more beneficial. At the same time, it will not disturb the person who is speaking that, or it will not disturb the people who are listening to that. In that way, here, what is the point? Equanimity is the measuring point. Here. Equanimity is the yardstick. With that equanimity, sometimes it may look a little harsh, but if you are maintaining that balance, it's okay. Because in the equanimity, compassion also comes, responsibility also comes. Sometimes with responsibility, we may have to speak harshly or coarsely. But if you can maintain equanimity, then that responsibility becomes much more firm, much more clear. And that harshness, that rudeness, or that coarseness in the sound, it will decrease. There will be more rational, there will be more precisiveness, there will be more pragmatism in the words. So, because of that reason, again, to take care of one's own mind, again, the harsh speech, it matters. Harsh speech one should look into. Though you have out of responsibility or speaking harshly with someone, out of compassion also, just like when you're handling a small kid, your own child, you may have to speak harshly. But when you bring in this component of equanimity and beneficiality, then the harshness in the speech, it will automatically reduce. And it will be more like a corrective speech, rectifying the mistakes. That kind, towards that side, your speech will incline. If it is uncontrolled, it becomes too emotional, though it is out of compassion, though it is out of concern, though it is out of responsibility. When you lose the balance, when you lose the equanimity, then it will disturb your mind also and the people who are listening to it also. It will not be very effective also in rectifying their mistakes. Because of that reason, this harshness, you should understand how it affects one's own mind, the person who is indulging in this harshness, harsh speech. And when his mind is disturbed, then definitely that disturbed mind will not have a better impact on the listeners. If you shout also, it will not have better impact on the anybody. But because nowadays in this generation, there's nothing like one hierarchy. Like here, now everybody is that individuality is very much predominant in this generation. When there was some hierarchy in the ancient days, people out of some fear, some respect to the superior hierarchy for the elders, for anybody whom they think as superior, they simply oblige. There may be some sense in what they're talking. Let me listen. Let me just understand what they're saying. That kind of acceptance was very much there in the ancient days. But now people think independently, individually, and logically. Mm. So in this generation, this harsh speech is also very, very important that one should look into to get the work done, to influence the other with your speech, where it may be. Harshness will not work. Equanimity works, balance works. So if you have concern with that concern, if you become little restless and become imbalanced, and because of that your speech becomes harsh, then you should understand that this concern, it is losing balance. This responsibility is losing balance. So with this balanced mind, when there is no equanimity in the mind, whatever I speak, it will not have impact on the other person and it will disturb my mind also. And this disturbed mind will not produce the skillfulness in my speech. So that understanding one should have. With that understanding, if you can understand the coarseness in your speech, the harshness in your speech, then automatically you can decrease or you can just annihilate that harshness. You can bring in more balance, more equanimity, more firmness. Definitely, it will be there. People think that if there is no harshness in the speech, then there will be no firmness in the speech. No, that's wrong. Firmness comes with equanimity, not with harshness. Please understand. I repeat, firmness comes from equanimity. The firmness in your decision, in your speech, comes from the equanimity of your mind, not from the harshness of your speech. Harshness always leads to imbalance in the mind. Firmness and equanimity, they go together. They keep the mind more balanced, more skillful. So because of that reason, so don't yield to this harshness, thinking it is more firmness and it will have better impact, better results, better concern, better responsibility. No. All Buddha's teachings are like, say, to decrease emotionality in one's own say, mind, one's own personality, one's own speech, one's own thinking, one's own actions, and substitute that emotionality with clarity, with skillfulness, with equanimity. Skillfulness, equanimity, clarity are more important. Or that leads to wisdom than emotionality. So that's what is the core principle of all Buddha's teachings. So based on this principle, if you look at this harsh speech, harshness is merely its emotionality. There is no rationality, there is no skillfulness, there is no equanimity, there is no, not even firmness also. Many people may think harshness leads to firmness. No. Harshness is only emotionality. But coarseness in speech is only emotionality. So to substitute that emotionality with skillfulness, with firmness. Equanimity is a must. However responsible, however compassionate you may be, you should learn along with this compassion, along with the responsibility, I have to be equanimous also. I have to be attentive and equanimous also. That idea, if you have, then your speech can't become coarse speech or harsh speech. It will become an equanimous speech, speech with firmness, but it will not lose the balance and it will not become emotional and it will not become harsh speech. Okay, so in that way, please understand this. How this harsh speech or coarse speech is also musawada, wrong speech or incorrect speech or false speech. So this also comes under this wrong speech or incorrect speech, this harsh speech and this coarse speech also. Okay, there is one Jataka story related to this harsh speech. Once our Buddha was a bodhisattva. He was a bull, a very huge, very strong bull. And the owner of that bull, he was a Brahmin, and he used to take care of that bull very fondly, very lovingly. And this bodhisattva, as a bull, he was also very respectful to his owner, his boss. And he was so strong. After all, bodhisattvas, you might have observed when you go through the Jataka tales, whatever life, whatever animal life, whatever, like say, caste he takes birth, whatever animal he was in his previous lives, he was the leader, he was the strongest, he was the wisest in that group, in that community. When he takes birth as a Vaishya, as a businessman, he was the wisest businessman, he was the strongest businessman. When he becomes a king, he was the wisest, he was the strongest among the Kshatriyas. When he becomes a Brahmin, he was the wisest and the strongest among his community members. When he was, like say, a deer, he was the most attractive and most intelligent and most strongest also among all the deers, the community of deer. And if he was a lion, he was the best among all the lions. He was the wisest and the strongest. The same way, when he was the bull, he was the most powerful bull. And I was very intelligent bull also. After all, the very purpose of bodhisattvas is to develop the wisdom, right? So, in his pursuit of developing higher and higher wisdom, so all other virtues also used to follow, like the strength, like even the physique also. When he was, especially when he was an animal, like lion or like bull or elephant, he used to be very powerful also, very strong and very well built also. So in that way, this bull, he was very well built and very powerful, very strong. And that Brahmin, that poor Brahmin, his owner, he was not very rich and he became very poor. And to help him, the bull thought, like say, you just have some kind of bet with somebody, like your friend or some rich person in your village, so that I can pull some 100 carts or maybe some 500 carts, something like that. Some huge number of carts I can pull. Everybody shocked. How come this bull can pull so many carts? Then this Brahmin, he agreed, all right, so then you can bet for some 1,000 coins or 10,000 coins. Then you can win the bet and you will, like say, then your poverty will go and you can lead a good life. All right, he agreed because he was very fond of this bull and he knew the ability of this bull. But what happened? Should teach him a lesson. So it didn't pull all those cards. Whatever they do, it didn't pull. Then he felt very bad and he lost the competition. He lost the bet. Then he felt very bad. He was very remorseful, and he then came and he requested this bull, "Why you behave like this? Why you did not pull?" It became a great shame for me, and also a great, like say, I didn't get anything. I remained poor. Mm. You made a great mistake. In that way, he requested this bull, why he behaved like that. Then that Bodhisattva, he taught this lesson on this harsh speech. Mm. So I wanted to teach you this harsh speech. So if you talk like this, then you invite more problems from everyone. Mm. Though you are my boss, you should use the equanimous speech when, if at all, if you want to show your bossism. But now actually you're dependent on me. You should use more polite words. You have not understood now who is the boss, uh, whom actually you are dependent. It is not me who is dependent on you. It is you who is dependent on me. That you have that understanding you lost. So just to teach you this, I didn't pull all those cards. That's why you failed in your bet. You lost the bet. Now you do one thing, you just increase the price instead of 10,000 coins. Now you make it 20,000 coins. And again, out of like say proudness, he will come and then I will pull all the cards, some 100 cards. Then you will win the bet. Then next time, again they arranged, and now he started talking in a equanimous, in a very pleasant way, and even with some politeness also. This Brahmin, the owner of this bull, and now this bull could pull all those cards. And the person, the rich person of that village, he, of course, he had to give that 20,000 coins to this Brahmin, the owner of this bull. So, in that way, to teach the importance of this polite speech or gentle speech or equanimous speech, this Bodhisattva, after all, he used to like his boss also. He wanted to see wherever this Bodhisattva takes part, he used to teach all these great virtuous things in different ways, in different skillful means, especially whom he likes, say, whom he thinks they can learn this. So in that way, he could teach his master about the importance of this uh, polite speech, gentle speech, hmm, humble speech, not this harsh speech or this coarse speech. So in that way, one should look into uh, the one should have that overall awareness of who is dependent on whom, hmm, and to what extent one should be equanimous. At the same time, one should be firm in his speech instead of bringing in that coarseness or emotionality or uncontrolledness in the speech. If that understanding if the person has, then he is going little more deeper in understanding this musavada. The coarse speech also will not help. Instead of the coarse speech, emotional speech, I should speak skillfully with equanimous mind, with balanced mind. And sometimes if you are in a receiving position, you should be humble also. If you are not in the receiving position, you can be equanimous. You need not be proud and aggressive in your speech. You should be you should be equanimous and you should be balanced. So in that way, one should understand this. The third aspect, the third layer of in this musavada, that is this harsh speech. One should avoid harsh speech. Parusa vacha, in Pali it's called parusa. Parusa means like aggressiveness. Hmm. Aggressiveness in the speech, but also one should avoid. But of course, uh, in the worldliness, sometimes people talk aggressively, but slowly you have to substitute that aggressiveness with the skillfulness and equanimity. Then you will derive a lot of benefits. You can experiment, you can find out. So that is the next aspect in this musavada, the next layer, the next level. And the last one is the gossiping or useless talk. Again, many people think, uh, especially in India, uh, or in maybe in some uh, third world countries, gossiping is one of the main reasons why people are wasting a lot of time, lot of energy, lot of their intelligence also. Mm. The non-beneficial talk, useless talk, mm, frivolous talk, very menial, very unnecessary, very menial talk, which is not at all necessary for their work, for their purpose in the life, for their goals, for their profession. Simply talking some unnecessary talk just to, just like say the uncontrolled, again it's uncontrolledness in the in talking, in speech. Actually, it again invites so many problems. Lot of problems it invites. Because if you don't have controlledness, means you don't have mindfulness. And you don't have purpose. You're talking unnecessarily. That means you don't have purpose, you don't have controlledness. In that uncontrolled flow of the words, so many things which are supposed to keep some secrets. It's not may not be your secrets. Some people out of trust, they might have trusted you and you are supposed to keep their secrets. You may simply open it out. Then you nobody will trust you. And you will lose that what is called the trustworthiness. That is one problem in this gossiping, number one. Point number two, you will be wasting a lot of time. It will become one kind of addiction. But I've seen people talking of so many unnecessary things, boasting things, boastfulness, unnecessary things. Such people, as I told you, that boasting is also a kind of untruthfulness, lying. Most of the frivolous talk, it automatically includes boasting also. Boasting means uh, showing off one's own abilities, though they don't have the abilities. In the speech, simply verbally, they are talking so much. But when it comes to action, they could not do anything. That is what is boasting. Boasting oneself. And that is also, of course, frivolous talk, useless talk. And that kind of boasting nature, and again, people will not trust you because talk 1 million things and act zero things. So that's also like if you go a little deeper, that's also lying. So in that way, boasting or frivolous talks also leads to lying, which leads to people losing trustworthiness. Lying leads to losing trustworthiness. The same way, boasting also leads to losing trustworthiness. People will lose trust on you. That is one more, like say, problem with this frivolous talk or this gossiping. And a person who is addicted to this gossiping, he will not only become boastful in his nature and losing trust. And the next thing is like completely will forget about, like say, uh, his responsibilities, his duties, and his actions. And this trustlessness and this boasting, it may lead to this frivolousness may lead to some kind of like say crookedness and cunningness also. Yeah, this boasting, if it is more uncontrolled, when you become more skillful in boasting and this frivolous talk, then you may become more cunning also. Very intelligently hiding, covering everything will start, and it may become cunningness and crookedness also, and it may lead to criminal mind also. That criminal mentality also, I have seen many people, and of course, it is very much there in the scriptures also. A person who is addicted to this kind of boasting and frivolous talk, he may become, like say, cunning also, he may become crooked also, it may become a criminal also. To that extent, it will go, this very gossiping. People generally think, which is nothing, which is, of course, it is not at all a main thing. It's not at all a major mistake. It's not at all lying. But it has the potentiality of, like, say, destroying one's personality, and it may lead to a person becomes a criminal, to that extent it may go. So in that way, this lying has so many underlying layers. If you understand the lying from different dimensions and the different layers, then this very precept of Musavada Veramani, that itself can protect a person to a great extent, and it can keep a person in the right track. Not only, of course, to achieve Nibbana and spiritual growth, even for the worldly growth, materialistic benefits also, the growth in the world also. This truthfulness, understanding the truthfulness, the four dimensions of this truthfulness that we have seen now, and the different layers of this truthfulness that we have to some extent discussed now. With these things, if you understand, then it will help you to progress both in the worldly, like say, in this materialistic world also, and in the spiritual world also. So that is about today's Dhammata. If you have some quick questions, you can ask, then we will conclude with one small chanting. Okay, now we will conclude with one small chanting.
Sorry, Venerable, I had just one question. In the starting, you said that if we harsh on someone and talk something harshly, or lie something, and immediately if we accept that, then the power of that karma will reduce. So can you
Confession,
just tell me, so, how it works? Like immediately if we do it, means how it will reduce?
It is something like see, in all religions, of course, in the court also, you would have observed, if a person confesses his mistake, then the punishment will reduce, isn't it? If a person, if he prolongs, like say, his argument that he has not done a mistake, and if he defends his mistake, his crime, then the punishment will not reduce. But if a person, he accepts, yes, I did a mistake, he confesses and he repents, yeah, so then the punishment will reduce, because now he will not repeat it. That is the point. Why people appreciate it means, like, he will not repeat it. So he understood that this is a mistake, and by confessing, he will not repeat it. So because of that reason, the people, the punishment will reduce. The same thing works here in this precepts also. If he does a mistake, and if he confesses that he does a mistake and will not repeat it, then automatically he will invite the compassion from others, and his punishment will reduce. The more the person hides, he will extend his, like say, that period of not opening it out. Like opening it out is also one kind of truthfulness. So confession is one kind of opening it out. Covering it, hiding it, prolonging that covering and hiding. So then your mind, at the psychological level, if you see, at the spiritual level, at the psychological level, when you are covering some of your untruthfulness, your lies, that covering also, it will multiply your lying. You're hiding some lie means, like, then you're repeating the lie in your mind. Covering, hiding is also, actually, it will intensify your evil or your lying. That's why in all spiritual centers also, not only in the jails or the prisons or in the courts, they appreciate opening up and speaking truth. Even in the spiritual training programs, training centers also. So if some person who has taken some vows, could not, like say, fulfill those vows, and if he hides it and he prolongs it, then as a punishment, so many days he has prolonged. So he is asked to go on like one kind of penance. It's not exactly penance, like there will be some kind of a separate center where they have to go, and they should be away from other people, and they should regret on that. They should do some other practice to confess that, and to, it's like a punishment kind of thing. In that way, in the spiritual centers, spiritual training centers also, if the hiding period is more, then that punishment period is also more. When the hiding period is less, the confession happened immediately, then that punishment period also less. Just like in the courts, or in the court verdicts also, the hiding or confession is quick, hiding is less, then their punishment is less. Same way in this spiritual training centers also, the punishment will be less when you confess quickly. So that is again the second reason is like that mistake or that evil, that you are not multiplying it. By confessing, you are just opening it up. Once you open it up, then it will evaporate. It will not multiply in your mind. If you conceal it, then it will keep multiplying. That repentance, that guilt will repeat again and again. Guilt is again the biggest evil, biggest demerit. It will make you very weak, it will take away your confidence. Because of that, to avoid that guilt, to come out of that guilt, and if you confess quickly, you'll be free from that guilt, and that papa, that evil, that demerit, it will not multiply, and you will be free. That itself is a reward actually for you. By confessing, you are rewarding yourself. So in that way, this confession will reduce your evil. Confession will cleanse up, it will open up your, like say, it will make you free from that evil because of that reason. So lying, if it is confessed quickly, then the evil will reduce, guilt will reduce, and thereby the repercussions. What is repercussions? The fruits of your bad action, your like say your hiding, it will also reduce. When anything accumulates, then whether it's good or bad, if your evil action accumulates, then you will get immense, the repercussion will be stronger. So by confession, that accumulation will reduce, then the repercussion will be more pleasant, or there will be no accumulated, or there will be no stronger evil fruits. So because of that reason, confession is a very powerful tool. In all religions, they practice this. In Christianity, in Islam, in Hinduism, in Buddhism. As soon as you involve in some evil actions, if you go and confess with your spiritual master or your religious teacher, then the first and foremost benefit is the heart becomes free from that guilt. That is the very first benefit. The second thing is it will not multiply in your mind, and it will not become a bigger evil. Guilt, if you hide, it becomes a bigger evil. And that bigger evil leads to bigger problems. Psychologically also it will trouble you so much. And its repercussions also will be bigger. The evil consequences also becomes bigger. The evil fruits also become bigger, more dangerous. Because what after all this law of cause and effect? Good begets good, bad begets bad. Bad, if it is accumulated, then begetting also will be an accumulated bad, more intense bad. So in that way, this confession and opening up as quickly as possible is very, very important. Even in this, when you see the cosmology, this, if you step back and see the repeated births and deaths also, if you are punished for your evil in this very life, then that punishment will be relatively less. When you hide it, when you cover it, when you escape from the punishment in this life, in the next life it will come out. It will come to you with multiple holes, many holes it will come to you. There are so many, like say in this the discourses given by Buddha also. If a person hides some of his mistakes, if he won't go through the punishment in that very first life, then hundreds of lives he will suffer. If you kill someone, for example, in this life, and if you are not killed, if you are not punished for your killing, then in so many lives you will be killed. You will get back that punishment for so many lives because you have, like say, you have not confessed, you have hidden it. That's what is actually the concepts and this entire Buddhist cosmology also Buddha talks about. You have done some evil things, you escape from the evil consequences in this life, you fall into hells, you fall into lower realms, because you have to go through that punishment more severely in the lower realms. And if you confess and if you liberated your mind, evaporated all that evils, and you start doing good things by realizing it, then you will get the reward. What is the reward? You will take rebirth in the heavenly realms. So in that way, these rewards and punishments are also, they are dependent on how quickly you confess and realize your evil things, and how quickly you will come into the track of understanding of this good begets good, bad begets bad. In that way, confession, realizing the evil, it requires tremendous wisdom and the wisdom of this, of course, so many other related principles of Buddha, like good begets good, bad begets bad, this law of cause and effect. All this understanding is there. Then understanding the importance of confessing becomes very easy. So
Yeah,
that is the
got it.
importance.
Actually, I have a like joking kind of nature in my friend circle. I simply crack the jokes and like kind of, and immediately I always no, don't take it seriously, I was joking. So that kind of behavior also comes in a musavada. So we should not do like that also, correct?
You're confessing immediately, no? Then it's okay for a joke's sake. And of course, if you're more responsible, then all this will automatically reduce. If the people are actually, they are not having any, like say, bigger responsibilities, they waste much of the time in this kind of petty things, petty jokes and all. Because if a person becomes more and more responsible, automatically this kind of small layers or small levels of the so-called joking or this gossiping or this frivolous talk, it will reduce. It will take backseat. So in that way, this of course, one need not take it too seriously also. One should not stretch it too much. One should go bit by bit, step by step. Oh, overnight I should become completely, absolutely truthful person. I should give away all this frivolous talk. I should give away all this lying and backbiting and then this harsh speech. One should work on this bit by bit. How? By becoming more and more responsible in your duties, in your actions, and in your purpose, the life. Then understanding whenever you are into this kind of joking, this kind of frivolous talk, understanding uh, this kind of Dhamma talks and realizing and bringing this kind of understanding into that particular situation and becoming more and more focused on the purpose of life, then slowly it will wither off. And one need not be like too serious overnight. I should come out of this kind of joking, and then it becomes like that's what is moderation. All these principles, all these shilas, or all this meditation and all, one should go step by step. Again, depending on one's own uh, abilities also. For some person, absolutely becoming truthful is maybe very easy. You might have practiced it not only in this life, maybe from so many lives. Then for such a person, becoming absolutely truthful may be easy. But for some person, because of this kind of jovial nature or so many other reasons, for such a person, overnight, if he wants to become absolutely truthful, then it becomes extreme. So in that way, in all and understanding all these virtues, and one should bring in this understanding of middle path and moderation also. In that way, if you can bring in these principles, these virtues, along with moderation, then the growth will be like uniform growth will be like more fascinating, more charming. When you force too much, though it is beyond your abilities, then it may bounce back. Like you may not progress in this. Rather, uh, you may lose interest in the very principle itself. That is one more caution that I want to just tell our people here. So if it is very minute, and be conscious, be aware that this is what is happening. This is also a small degree of frivolous talk, small degree of lying. Let me reduce it bit by bit, part by part. And for that, this understanding, this awareness is one thing. Second thing is more focusedness in the life, more purposefulness in the life. These two aspects, if you bring in the awareness of what is lying, what is not lying, that very awareness is one thing based on this knowledge and all. Second thing is the purposedness in the life, the more clarity in the purpose of the life, and the mind is focusing and progressing in that, then automatically all these things, they will be thereof. So these 2 points also, all of you can keep in your mind. Okay.
Thank you, Venerable. Lot of sadhuvad. I got my answer. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now conclude with one small chanting. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te sukhi bhaveyan nidduko aham nicca aham viya pita cha me sukhi hontu majjata chataverino imam higammante dhamme satta hontu sukhi sada ato paranchara jesu chakkavale sujantu no. Sadhu. Sukhi Hontu, Mangal Ho. May all of you be happy, healthy, and peaceful. May all beings also be happy, healthy, and peaceful. Sukhi Hontu.